Well, it's more of the same, actually, to add into it such things as your present visual consciousness of Rudy. I'm not putting a proposition in there. Rudy is before your mind. In a way that's unintelligible except by way of our going on to say, Donald could form thoughts about Rudy, placed as he is with respect to Rudy, were he to form thoughts about Rudy. Now that's a presence to the mind of a non-weird object, not supposed to be intelligible except in the context of your ability to form thoughts, but it isn't itself a matter of your actually forming thoughts. It's a matter of, it connects up with your ability to form thoughts, yes, but he's there for you, whether or not you are stocking your mind with beliefs about him. And I think I know that by Davidsonian interpretation, because I know quite a lot about you, and I know which direction your eyes are turned in, and you know that they function pretty well because I realize that you don't stumble into furniture, and I know that you're familiar with him. I think I'm just being a Davidsonian interpreter in arriving at this thought.
Well,
that he's present.
But you use a turn of phrase there that I don't understand. I can put various interpretations on it, which are quite different from each other. I can ask myself what the person who is there, whoever it might be, looks like. And now I look, I form various beliefs. Well, it looks something like my uncle, and I see that his hair is done a certain way and so forth. Those are all beliefs, which I certainly form by looking. Nothing else to it. I can imagine closing my eyes and saying, what does Rudy look like? Or what does the person I just saw look like? These all are beliefs, however. Now, it's the non-belief element that I'm having trouble with. I think I understand what it's like to try to picture somebody that I know in my mind. I think that's not as clear an idea as people make out to be. I'm not whether there's really some image I'm inspecting. I've become very, very suspicious of most of the ways we try to describe this, and so I wouldn't want to put a lot of weight on that sort of thing. But the idea that I can look at Rudy and just take in that Rudy is there without believing it is something I don't even, by even straining, I can't think what that would be like. I can't help but believe he's there.
Well, if you're right, because you're trying to tell yourself a story, right, and you can't do that except discursively.
Right.
But that doesn't seem to squelch this thought that the discursive story that you tell about yourself can include the presence to you of objects that are, as it were, available for you to form beliefs about.
Well, I can certainly think about, I can imagine there being things that don't exist, but are something like the things that do. Of course, I can entertain propositions in the sense of saying, what would it be like if? And then imagine that the world is different than I think it is, and ask what follows. I can certainly reason in that way, but I don't think that captures, because what you want to talk about is perception, and you believe that something goes on in perception. There's an additional step, or at least element, which I think I can do without, and furthermore I don't understand the extra step. I think I do just take in many things, and by that what I mean.
You mean facts. You mean facts when you say
yes,
things, right?
Yes.
Ways things are.
Yes,
Yeah,
I just take in. I mean, I look and
proposition
I believe. No, but it's all belief. I believe. I mean, sometimes, of course, I look and I wonder, what am I seeing? That's perfectly possible. But at that point, though, I wouldn't say I'm taking in something propositional. Or I'd say, I am taking in something propositional. It is that there's something that looks a bit like so-and-so and a bit like so-and-so, and I don't know which one it is. So there are propositions sort of floating there, but those are true descriptions of what I'm led or made, I would say, to believe by what I see, by looking. I'm forced into endless beliefs, many of which are so unimportant that they don't matter, and many of which I correct an instant later. And of course, a lot of things that I would be led to believe, if it weren't for other things I know, I'm not led to believe because of what I know. Yeah. But that seems to me to be belief all around. And I don't know what this extra well, let me put it this way. Suppose I'm really just missing something. What difference does it make?
Loss of contact with the great tradition in philosophy. That's the first off thing I'm inclined to say. I mean, I really meant that about Descartes and his followers wrecked the idea of consciousness, and Kant, bless him, saw that the wreck was not irrevocable. He could get it back. You seem to me to be almost I mean, it's the tiniest shift would have you, because the thing has to be done again for each new generation, you're almost doing again for this generation, where troops of people have fallen back into a roughly Cartesian way of thinking. This is why it was important for you to make the move you made in such papers as the coherence theory paper, the myth of subjectivity. I mean, this wasn't reminding us of some antique thing that we were long since shot of. When we weren't shot of it, we aren't shot of it.
But John, you haven't answered my question.
Well, I meant to, but obviously in a way that's not satisfying. What you miss is failing to be doing this, it seems to me, very satisfying thing that I take Kant to have done. To have said you weren't wrong in thinking that a concept of consciousness could play that role. You were wrong in thinking that what you made of the concept of consciousness could play that role. And that second bit matches the negative move that you make. The throwing out the bathwater move.